welcome back to my channel. So today we're sitting down and we're talking about some high-end makeup products that are worth it and not worth it. Before we get started, don't forget I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday for you guys. If you like this video while you're watching it, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. It really does help my channel out. And other than that, if you are excited and you want to hear about some high-end makeup and the juicy details on them, then let's go ahead and get started. Before we actually get started, this video is extra special because it is in collaboration with my friend on here, Sarah Rose. I had mentioned in my content creator confessions tag that I would love to do a collab with her, and she reached out to me on Instagram and she was like, let's make this collab happen. And I was like, girlfriend, yes. Thank you so much to Sarah for collabing with me on this video. If you have not checked out Sarah's channel, I highly recommend. She has such a calming presence to her. Whenever I watch her videos, I just feel so like at ease. Also, she's very thorough with her reviews. She's very good at explaining why or why not she likes something, which is really helpful when you are taking her reviews and opinions into consideration when possibly purchasing something. My favorite thing about Sarah and her channel is she's very focused on like beauty consciousness, not overspending, using what she has. She does a lot of project pans and she does a lot of helpful tips sort of videos that help you use up your makeup or help you repress something or use something in a way that maybe you didn't fully think of before. She makes me really want to deep dive in my collection and just use up what I have. She does review new things every now and again, but she's very selective on what she chooses to review that's a new launch, which I personally appreciate that because that way when she is reviewing something or she really does purchase something, I know that I'm getting her honest opinion on it. She's very smart about what she purchases. So when she comes on and does a video about it and talks to you about it, whether she likes it or not, you know that you're getting her honest review because she thought long and hard about purchasing whatever she's talking about. She doesn't just like willy-nilly buy things, kind of like I can sometimes, which I honestly really appreciate. If you have not checked out Sarah's channel quite yet, I highly recommend you doing so. I think you would absolutely love her. I'm going to have her channel and her video linked down below for you to check out because she's doing this video as well. So we're going to be talking about 5 high-end makeup products that we think are worth it and 5 high-end makeup products that we think are not worth it. And in my mind, when I think like worth it, I think like 2 different things. 1, I think if it's like worth the price tag or not. And then 2, I think if it's worth the hype or not, if it's a really hyped up product. I probably took this way too seriously when thinking of the products I wanted to talk about, but I wanted to take it seriously because high-end makeup is expensive. And if I'm coming on here and telling you that I really do think it's worth the price tag, I want to make sure it's something that I really genuinely love with my whole heart and recommend you guys spending your hard-earned money on. And then same thing for the products that I don't recommend. I want to make sure it's products that like, I don't know, man, like I feel like you could get someplace better either at the drugstore or another brand, and I will explain all that as I'm talking about those products. Also, for all the products that I'm mentioning in today's video, I didn't receive any of them in PR. They are all products that I have spent with my hard-earned money, and I want to explain that really quickly. I don't think that if I receive something in PR, that sways my opinion at all. If I'm lucky enough to be sent something from the brand or Octoly or anything like that, I really do give you guys my genuine opinion. If I like it, I'll say I like it. If I don't, I say I won't. However, I do think it's just a little bit easier to say something is worth the price tag when you did not purchase it yourself. So all of these products right here that I am recommending or not recommending to you, I have spent my hard-earned money on. So I really do feel passionately about if I think it's worth it or not. I figured I would start off on a positive note and talk about the 5 products that I feel like are worth it in my humble opinion. And the first one being the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. This baby retails for $35. You do get 3.3 fluid ounces, which is quite a bit of product. Like this will last you a while, but you're spending $35 on a setting spray. I know that's a lot of money. However, I think every single solitary penny for this is 1,000,000% worth it. It's like my favorite setting spray ever. It's even like creeping up and taking over Urban Decay De-Slicks spot as like my favorite setting spray ever. And I've been using that one for like close to a decade now. When this first came out, I didn't really understand the hype because when it first came out, it was in the height of the pandemic and we were wearing masks everywhere all day, all the time. And so many people were saying that this made their makeup mask proof, that it would not rub off on their mask at all whenever they would wear one. And that just didn't happen for me. So I was like, I don't think this is as good as everyone's saying. And then I used up the mini. And then I used it with full size and then I repurchased it because it's so good. It doesn't make my makeup mask proof, but it does help it wear so nicely throughout the whole day. Whenever I wear this, my makeup looks amazing by the end of the day. It does give a little bit of glow to your skin, but if you're oily, I don't want that to scare you. I think you would still enjoy this. And if you're dry, I think you would enjoy that little bit of sheen it gives you. But mainly it just makes my makeup wear so perfectly all day long. I always have a good makeup day when I use this setting spray. Next up, I have a really expensive primer to talk about because I feel like if you use a really great primer that's going to help your makeup stay, and then a really great setting spray at the end, and kind of sandwich all your other products together with a really great primer and setting spray, your makeup is gonna like stay all day long. And that's what these two products do for me, the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray and this one right here. This is the Hourglass Mineral Veil Oil-Free Primer. This does have sunscreen in it, broad spectrum SPF 15, so keep that in mind if sunscreen does bother you or your skin or makes you break out. Personally, it doesn't bother me. This is $56. I know that is so much money, especially for a primer. However, I swear by this. Whenever I wear this, my makeup does not budge throughout the whole entire day. I reach for this anytime I need my makeup to last all day long. Special events, trips, weddings. If I know I'm just gonna be at work for a really, really long time, out in the sun, in the heat, this is one of the best primers I have ever used. It's a really nice consistency. I don't even want to waste it to show you guys, but like I'm going to because I love you guys that much, but it's so pricey. I'm like, do I really have to? Do I really have to do a swatch right now? But I'm going to for you guys. But it's a really nice, like lotiony, puffy sort of consistency. It's kind of hard to explain. It almost looks like marshmallows, but then when you like rub it into your skin, it just rubs in so nicely and just sinks in. And it doesn't really alter the finish of your skin. Like it doesn't really mattify it or make it glowy or anything like that. It just makes your makeup last perfectly all day long. I feel like I've raved about this a million times on my channel, but I'm gonna keep raving about it because it's so stinking good. Again, I know $56 is a lot of money. I did get it on sale at Ulta. They were having like a 20% off one prestigious item a while back when I purchased the full size, and then I cashed in some points. So I did not pay $56 for it. And Hourglass doesn't really go on sale too often. However, you can pick it up in the Sephora sale sometime and get 10, 15, or 20% off. Or if Ulta does that, like 20% off one prestigious item again, which I'm sure they would. I don't know why they wouldn't. But if you've had your eye on this, or even if you haven't had your eye on it, I want to put it on your radar. Because if you want your makeup to last perfectly all day long, this baby will do it for you. The next product I think is worth it. I'm kind of cheating because I'm talking about 3 different ones, but they're the same thing, but they're different. But I'm gonna talk about them anyways. And it's Natasha Denona Midi palettes. So these babies all retail for $65. I do have 3 of them. I cannot recommend these eyeshadow palettes to you enough. The first one we have is the Glam palette. This is probably going to be the one that most people gravitate towards and want to reach for because it is such neutrally sort of tones. You have some cool tones, you have some warm tones, you have some silver, some pink, some golds, pretty much everything you would need to make like an everyday eyeshadow look you can get in this palette. I also have a couple more colorful options in case you're into that as well. The first one is the Love palette. This is such a beautiful palette. The tones go so beautifully on my personal fair skin and blue eyes, but I can see these tones working out for a bunch of different skin tones and eye colors as well. The looks you make with this palette are obviously going to be a little bit more warm tone on the pinky side, but you do have some purples and some golds as well. And then lastly, we have the first Midi palette she ever released, and this is the Sunrise palette. Again, a really nice warm tone sort of color story. I love this color story, and I am not really a warm tone kind of girl. I prefer cool tones if I'm going to choose. So like when I look at this palette, I'm like, I don't know, and I really don't reach for it that much. However, I did use it for the first time in I don't even know how long the other day for work, and I fell back in love with this palette when I used it. It is such a stunning palette, but I recommend all of these to you guys because the quality is perfection. Natasha Denona is known for her eyeshadow palettes. Her mattes are buttery smooth. I do have a couple issues with a couple of the deeper mattes getting slightly patchy on me, but it's nothing terrible, and I can buff and blend it out. And those shimmers in all 3 of these palettes are just so impactful on the eyes that they are worth the $65 price tag in my opinion. I think if you find a color story that you enjoy from one of her Midi palettes, because she's got these 3, and I want to say she's got like 2 or 3 others as well that I personally do not own, but I think if you picked one up, you would not be disappointed by the quality, and it would be a palette that you reach for all the time. If I had to recommend one out of the 3, I would recommend the Glam, just because it is the most wearable everyday palette, and if you are going to be spending that much money on a palette, you want to make sure you're getting a lot of use out of it. However, I recommend all 3 of them. They're stunning. Next up, we have probably the most hyped up products that I'm going to talk about in this whole video. I don't know, a couple of the not worth it's are pretty hyped up as well, but these babies are so hyped up, and it is the Charlotte Tilbury wands. The first one right here is her Hollywood Beauty Light Wand Easy Highlighter. I have the shade Spotlight, and I also have her Hollywood Contour Wand Easy Contour in the shade Fair to Medium. These babies are so good, you guys. They're $40. I know, that's steep. That is steep, especially for like a liquid highlight and a liquid bronzer. You're like, really? $40? But I'm here to tell you that the hype on these are 1,000,000% correct and real and honest and worth it. Probably have, but if you've never seen these before, they have this sort of like ball applicator on them. You twist it open and squeeze all the product out, and then you can either dot it on your face, you can apply it with a sponge or brush, whatever you prefer. I don't love the packaging, but I also don't hate it. I know this is kind of like a polarizing packaging. You either love it or hate it. I'm just kind of indifferent. It's not like my favorite, but also I understand why she has them in this sort of packaging. And here we have swatches for you guys. So the reason why I love them so much is they are really, really easy to use. The contour one, it looks really intense on your cheeks when you first apply it, and you start blending it in and it looks very intense and you're like, oh no, what did I just do? This is a hot mess express on my face. I'm not gonna be able to blend this out. And then you just keep blending and it just blends out perfectly and effortlessly. It is the bronzer that I have on my face today. I did tap it over a tiny bit with the powder bronzer on top, but that's only because I like a really heavy bronzer sort of look on my face. I think if you like a little bit more natural of a bronzer, this will be perfect for you. And then we have the highlight wand. I love this so much, and as you can see, I've had this for a while now, and because I love this one so much, that's what made me want to spend the $40 again to get the contour wand. This looks so natural and heavenly on your face. It is the highlight that I have on my cheeks today. If you can see, I just feel like it makes me look so healthy and glowy. It's not over the top, it's not too intense, it just looks perfect on the skin. And what I love about this is you can use this over powder. I completely set my face today, and I did use it over a set powder face, and it works beautifully like that. I will say if you do that, I would go in and put it on like your sponge, like take the product off your sponge and then tap it on your cheeks instead of dotting it on and tapping, because if you do that and your face is set, it can kind of like stick a little bit. But if you don't set your face, you can just dot it on and apply it. It just kind of depends on your makeup preference and if you like to set your face or not. But you don't have to set these if you don't want to. I just personally like to. I cannot recommend these enough though. They are beautiful and stunning and lovely on the skin. And the last product that I think is worth it is one that's older and doesn't really get any hype anymore, but I use it all of the time and I love it so much that I wanted to give it its time in the limelight to tell you guys about it. And it is from MAC. It's their Mineralized Skin Finish Powder in the shade Soft and Gentle. This is the most beautiful highlight. I know I just talked about the Charlotte Tilbury highlight, so maybe I shouldn't be talking about two highlights, but here I am. If you can see that this used to be a dome and it is like flattened out because I use it so stinking much. What I love about this is it gives your skin the most ethereal, lovely glow. It's like you're glowing from within. I love a blinding highlight. Like I want a wham bam thank you ma'am highlight, and this does not give me that. However, when I want a more soft, natural, just lit from within sort of glow, maybe for work, or I just have a softer makeup look on, this is perfect for that. So here's a swatch of it right here on my hand. If you can see, it just literally makes you look as if you're glowing and healthy and just like you are full of water and you're not dehydrated at all. I will admit it is a little bit glittery, so I always make sure I tap off my brush really well before I go in and buff it on my face. But if you do that, tap off your brush and then just lightly buff, I'm telling you, this will give you the most ethereal glow. It really will make you look as if you're just healthy and glowing, and it's not powdery looking. It doesn't emphasize any texture. This retails for $38. I know, that's really pricey. However, I could not recommend this more. And like I said, if you like a more natural, lit from within sort of highlight, I think you would love this. Alrighty, and now it's time for me to be a little bit of a negative Nelly, and it's time for me to talk about the products that I do not think it's worth it. However, I feel like even though this type of video and all of that can get a little bit negative and a little bit like Debbie Downer, I do think they're important, so that way you know like maybe some products to skip on. I was just giving Charlotte Tilbury a lot of love on my products that I think are worth it. However, I do have a product from her that I just don't understand, I don't think. And it is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. This has been around forever. It's super hyped up. So many people love it and swear by it and think it's like a magic product. I don't get the hype on this. I don't think it's really worth the $44 price tag, $44. They do have a mini version now that's only $15. So that's really nice if you have your eye on it and you want to try it. You can try a mini for a lot less money. However, I don't think they have every single shade in the mini, which I don't really understand that. So this is kind of like a multi-use sort of product. You can use it as a liquid highlight. You can use it as a base, like a primer. You can mix it into your foundation. Some people, if you have like really perfect, glowing, naturally amazing skin with no redness or acne scars, some people use this as a foundation. I could never get away with that. So it comes on a doe foot applicator, which is just kind of interesting. And here's a swatch for you. So here we have it just on there, and then I tried to blend it out a little bit. If you can see, it is a really glowy sort of product, which it looks pretty. It looks pretty, and it is a really pretty product. I do want to give a little disclaimer. All of these products I like the ones that I'm like, oh, it's not really worth it. Most of them I do enjoy and like and use, but if you had your eye on them, I would maybe skip them only because they are pretty pricey, if that makes sense. I'm trying to like save you some money. But I guess I just don't really fully understand the hype behind this product. How I like to use it is I will go on and swipe it on my face before foundation. So like in between primer and foundation, and then blend it out with my sponge. But then I personally go in with a pretty full coverage foundation, so you can't really see the glow coming through anyways when I do that, so it kind of seems like a pointless step. Or I do like to dot this on my face and then dot my foundation on my face and then blend it in, and it does give it a really nice, pretty glow to your skin. Also, I can't use this as a liquid highlight. I really wish I could, but I have the shade 1 Fair, which is the lightest one, and it's too deep on me to use as a liquid highlight, which is just a bummer. And then also the packaging, like if you can see, I've had this one for a while, and just dipping it in and out, the packaging gets so incredibly messy. It's all like gathered around the top here. It's like coming over, spilling on the side. Maybe that's just me being messy, but I just like put it back in, and I don't know, it just is really messy. So for $44, I just don't use this enough and really think it's worth it. Next up, I want to talk about McGrath Lipsticks. I do want to give a little caveat for this. I like these lipsticks. I think they're a beautiful formulation, and I do reach for them and I do use them. However, one, I prefer my Charlotte Tilbury and my Natasha Denona lipsticks over these. So if you had your eye on and you wanted to like splurge and treat yourself on a more high-end sort of lipstick, I would recommend the Natasha Denona or Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks over this one. Also, two, there's a million amazing lipsticks at the drugstore for way less money than what these cost you. So for that reason, I just kind of don't really think they're worth the price tag in my humble opinion. This one right here is one of the Bridgerton collabs that she just came out with a couple weeks ago. This retails for $28. And then we have her like normal packaging lipstick, and these retail for $39. Well, here's the swatches for you guys. They all look the same. I didn't realize how similar they were until I just swatched them all next to each other, and they look like almost identical. And that's another thing that like people have a qualm about with Pat McGrath, is that like a lot of her undertones and a lot of her eyeshadow palettes and lipsticks kind of all look the same. They kind of all are just pink, which yeah. But these are just the 3 that I personally own. She does have other shades. So this one right here is the Bridgerton collab, and this one is in the shade Nude Romantique 2. Then right here in the middle, we have Divine Rose. And then the last one right here is in the shade Dream Lover. So while they are really pretty shades, and I like the formulation, this one is just a little bit more of a satin. This one's more matte, and this one is kind of in between the two of these. I do like these. I do reach for them, but just for the $28/$39 price tag, because these are $39, I would just recommend a lot of other lipsticks over these. Also, while the packaging is adorable and cute, it's kind of bulky and hard to store. So I would maybe pass, either get Charlotte Tilbury or Natasha Denona, or if you really just don't want to spend that much money on a lipstick, the new Milani like Color Fetish matte lipsticks. Oh my gosh, I have 2 of them and I just ordered a 3rd one. I'm obsessed with those lately. They're so good, and they're like $8. Next up, we have a product that I have talked about quite a few times on my channel, so I'm gonna try to like breeze by it a little bit and not be so in depth, and it is the Dior Powder No Powder. I purchased this because Samantha March. I'm sure a lot of us purchased this because Samantha March, because she is in love with this powder and she just raves about it so much that I was like, okay, if Samantha loves it so much and she says it makes her makeup and skin look flawless, then like I need to try it, right? So I shelled out the $40 for this product. Yeah, $40 for this little product. Look how thin it is. Look how thin it is. Like, what the heck? I do have the shade 1 in neutral, and you do get 11 grams and 0.38 ounces. I don't know. There's quite a few things I don't love about this powder. One, you don't really get a lot, so like that's a little bit of a bummer. I feel like any day now I'm gonna hit pan, even though I really don't reach for this much. Also, if you can see, it gets hard pan very easily, like very, very easily. But I have kind of noticed, I think that's just Dior products in general, because I have a new bronzer from them that I got in the Sephora sale, and I've noticed that it's been getting hard pan as well, and I've only used it a couple of times. So it must be something about Dior's formulation that gets hard pan. Also, this is a little bit deep and dark for me, even though this is 1N. They do have 0N, so maybe I should have picked that one up, but I don't like this enough to pick up 0N. Also, I just don't think it really does much. Like, yes, it is supposed to be like a powder, no powder. So when you apply it to your face, it's supposed to be like you did not apply powder. But like, it's like you didn't apply powder. It's like $40 for a powder that feels like you didn't apply powder, when like I get oily throughout my T-zone throughout the day. So I need to apply a powder. You know what I mean? So maybe this is just not my cup of tea and a product that was made for me and my skin type, which is totally fine. But I'm just here to tell you that if you are like me, you have combo skin, oily skin, I would stay far away from this. Oh, then we have another highlighter. I didn't realize that this video was going to be so highlighter heavy, so sorry about that. But next up we have the M Cosmetics Sunscape Highlighter in the shade Clarity. This is $38. $38 for a highlighter. That's a lot of money. I just was so disappointed by this product. I really love a lot of things from M Cosmetics. Their blushes are magnificent. Their eyeshadow palettes are really lovely as well. Their lip cushions, I like a lot from them. So I wholeheartedly expected to love this highlight when I purchased it, and it is such a bummer. So here's a swatch for you guys. Again, I have the shade Clarity. If you can see, it's a little bit too deep on my skin. There's quite a bit of a cast when I like put this on my cheek and turn my head. You can see a cast, and you can see it here on my hand. And this is the lightest of the four that she came out with, which is just kind of a bummer. Also, I feel like in the pan, it looks a little bit more champagne-y, and then on the cheeks, it pulls very, very gold. And another thing, whenever you apply it to your hand or swatch it, it looks really intense and beautiful and reflective and poppy and punchy. And then you put it on your cheeks and you're like, that's it? That's it? It just doesn't really do a whole lot on your cheeks. So for $38, I do not recommend this at all. There's 2 more highlighters that I just did recommend to you guys, and plus like a million more out there on the market, this price point and below, that are just way better. And last but not least, we have a product that I actually do not own anymore. I put up a reel a couple weeks ago on my Instagram account talking about products that I just don't really like, that I can't seem to get to work for me. And one of them that I mentioned was the Auric Smoke Reflect. I had the shade Defiance, which is like the brownie sort of one. So this is from Auric Beauty or Auric Cosmetics, which is Sam Ravindal's brand. I actually really like Sam, and I was really bummed that I couldn't make this work out for me. So what it is, it's like a pot sort of eyeshadow. On the bottom, you have a cream eyeshadow that you put down as a base. You can use it on its own, or you can put it down as a base for the shimmery sort of shade that's on the top of the pot. And that one you can just like press on your lid on top of it and make it like super shimmery and shiny and glowy. This was pretty, okay? It was really pretty. However, it creased on me so badly. It did not matter if I used a lot of the cream or only a little bit of the cream. It just creased. And it didn't seem to ever like stay on my eyelid and look good throughout the day. And these are $39. That's a lot of money for a little like single cream product. I am okay with the price point. I watched a video from Sam's a while ago that she explained why Auric has a little bit higher price point, and I'm honestly okay with the price. But the product for the price, I'm not okay with. Just because, again, on me personally, it was very creasy and didn't last all day long. I didn't finish my story about the reel. So anyways, I put up a reel about the product. I mentioned it. And one of my friends on there messaged me and she was like, hey, I'll buy that off of you if you want. Like, I've always wanted to try it. If you're willing to sell it, like, I'll buy it. And I was like, heck yeah. Because I would rather it go to her and get some use out of it. And maybe she'll love it. Hopefully she'll love it way more than I did, instead of just sitting in my collection not getting used. You know what I mean? So a lot of people love these. So take my review on this and my suggestion with a grain of salt, because a lot of people do really love those Smoke Reflex from Auric, but I personally just could not make it work on me. And that's it, you guys. That was 5-ish high-end products that I think are worth it, and 5-ish high-end products that I do not think they're worth it. Thank you so much again to Sarah for collaborating with me on this video. I will have her channel and her video linked down below for you to check out. Highly, highly recommend. If you are coming over from Sarah's channel, hello, my name is Emily. Thank you so much for clicking on my video and deciding to check me out. I hope you like what you see. We have a lot of fun over here on this channel, so I would love for you to subscribe and stick around. Let me know down below, do you agree with me on any of these products or do you not? Do some of the ones that I love, you're like, no girl, I could not make that work? Or some of the ones that I'm like, you could pass on, you're like, that's my holy grail. I love hearing from you guys down below in the comments. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much. You're awesome. I love you. Please subscribe if you have not yet, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye, guys.